Hello folks! Before I begin, you might be thinking, gee, looks like she got a haircut since the last time she made a video, which is true because I just did today. But before you say anything about how you like it, just know that I'm really angry, and any comments stating that it looks good will probably be relegated to the notebook of dirty lies. This, not what I asked for. Wanted it down here, not up here. Here, not here. And I'm not angry so much because this necessarily looks bad on me. I don't know, and I can't think objectively because I'm angry. So really it's just that how do you not listen to someone when they're demonstrating for you what they want and when they have a photograph in their hand? Like, how do you mess that up? I don't even know. But this is not what I asked for, so probably best not to comment on it. But the real reason I'm here, and happy, sure, is to do the How I Read tag. I was tagged by Estelle from Automantha, who I will put in my description box, although you probably all already know her. But really quick, two things. One, why can I not reply to comments in my little comment area anymore? Is this new? Is this something to do with Google+? It's about Google+, isn't it? Man, I don't get it. So if I'm randomly commenting on your videos or sending you private messages to respond to questions you asked me, or if you don't hear from me at all, it is because I cannot reply. Apparently you can only reply to comments that were left directly on the video page, I guess? I don't understand. And do you know, I've completely forgotten the other thing I was going to say? Well, it's been a long day, so there you are. Back to the tag. Question number 1. How do you find out about new books to read? I find out about them by browsing aimlessly and looking at things that seem interesting, or by getting recommendations, although that's rare because generally anything recommended to me has already been on my list for a long time, or read, or just isn't my thing, so I ignore it. Not always true, especially since I've been on BookTube and gotten a couple of good recommendations from people. I also browse other book blogs and publishers' websites and things like that. And sometimes whenever I'm typing something into Amazon, I start clicking randomly on the might also be interested in stuff, and that occasionally gives me a good find. Question number 2. How did you get into reading? There is literally not a time that I can remember that I was not into reading or books or anything. Before I could read, I would make my mother read for me, Dr. Seuss and the Bernstein Bears. And once I could read, I read them again and again and again, and whatever was in school. And then I went to the library, like literally from the age of 5. So, since I don't remember anything before that, we'll just go with forever. Oh, and nobody got me into reading. There was like no trigger for me to be into books. It was just this thing that came with my personality. I couldn't say why. Number 3. How has your taste in books changed as you've gotten older? It hasn't much, really. I've gradually been able to read more complex books, so, you know, classics that I couldn't read the first page of in school, you know, back in high school or middle school, I can now read with no problem. Back in art school in around 2002-ish, I couldn't read The Lord of the Rings, but we're going to try that again and see if my tastes have changed a little. Or maybe the book spontaneously got better, I'm not sure which. But overall I'd say it's generally the same. I still like Star Trek novels and fantasy and sci-fi in general, and I still kind of like unicorns. How often do you buy books? Probably a couple of times a month, even though I shouldn't. And normally I would say, you know, once or twice, because I don't go to the bookstore necessarily more than once a month. That's a lie. I do, because I have nowhere else to go. It is the only place that loves me. But I pre-order books, you know, in advance on Amazon so that I can get the lowest discount. and they usually send at least once or twice a month. There are very few months of the year where I haven't bought or pre-ordered something. Question 5. How did you get into booktubing? I got into booktubing because I was sitting at work one day and I thought to myself, gee, do people do book reviews on YouTube? Is that a thing? And earlier in the week, I had been trying to resurrect my blog, my written blog, which I'm still struggling to do because I just don't want to write anything. And I was looking for a way to invigorate my interest in reviewing, and it turns out that BookTube was it. So that's how I got into it. And of course, you know, I went on and I watched a couple of the folks who came up on the top of the list, and they were all very interesting and high energy, which I'm less so. And yes, my channel, you may witness it. Question number 6. How do you react when you don't like the end of a book? I usually get this look on my face like, yeah, sort of like that. Or I, depending on the type of dislike, if it's violent dislike, I may get angry. If it's just like, what the, bemused, frustrated dislike, I'll probably call a friend of mine and be like, what the hell with this? And explain the entire story in rambling and hilarious narration. So that's a way also. Or I'll text them and say, never read this ever, you'll be mad. And they may or may not believe me. Question number 7. How often have you taken a sneaky look at the back page of a book to see if it's a happy ending? Probably never exactly in those terms. Whether or not it was a happy ending was not my interest. It was just whether or not I liked the ending, or just curiosity about the ending. And I stopped doing that in high school because what I used to do is get a book and I'd go all the way to the back and I would read the very last sentence. And if the very last sentence was like, oh, then I suddenly got an adrenaline rush to read the rest. But I quit that because one day I read the back sentence and completely freaked out, like freaking out about what I thought was happening, and couldn't focus on most of the story. So we don't cheat. We don't do that. Question number 8. How many people are you going to tag and who are they? I don't know who has and hasn't done this, so... Okay, so Bree book reviews. Do this one. And one book, one review. And... And Liz Loves Literature. If the 3 of you have not done this, please do. That would be awesome. Continue the tagging. Okay guys, that's all. I'm gonna go make one more video, only I'm not gonna start it with complaining about my haircut. Bye.